Ladies and gentlemen, before my presentation, I would like to ask you this question. If I were to give you this kind of lame piece of paper, what would you do with it? Well, many people would say that they would draw on it. This very bad drawing, but it's still a drawing. But it's not as cool as maybe folding a paper airplane. But what about something even cooler than just an airplane? What if we can fold an origami dinosaur or a dragon? What would that be like? Well, today I'll be answering all of those questions. So, this art that can create dinosaurs and dragons out of paper is called origami. Origami is this ancient art that I will be talking in our presentation, and how it has eventually changed the world. So we start with ancient origami with our presentation. And then we'll move on to modern origami, where we'll compare the differences between those two. Then next we'll move on to origami designing and how to design such great origami. And fourth, we are going to ask everybody and myself, how exactly is origami helping the world? Or can it help the world? So, ancient origami was just the start of origami. It is a very old art, hundreds of years back in time, where paper was invented for a couple hundred years, and then came origami. So they were like, oh, we can draw on paper, of course, we can do that, but also we can see paper is folded super easily. So can we create something out of that folding? Well, yes, you can. For example, this paper crane. Paper cranes are super simple models. They're probably the starting models that you would always want to learn when you start origami. And it had the very elegant design, even though you can just say, oh, it's a bird. It strongly represents a crane in many Japanese, not only Japanese, but also many types of origamists from many different races' eyes. So they think, oh, it's not just a normal bird, it's a crane. So this is a good example of designing origami is hundreds of years ago. And you can see this is kind of like a lantern thing. Looks like a crane that's sitting upon this pyramid with other cranes surrounding it. Pretty strange model, but still pretty interesting. Okay, so next is this woman folding some type of paper toy. What's it? What is this? Yes, it is a paper crane. And legend has it that some people thought that if you fold 1,000 paper cranes, 1,000 is a lot if you're going to fold it, then God will heal you from anything bad you had. This is actually written in a book about the bombs, nuclear bomb that was thrown on Hiroshima, and then this Japanese girl wanted to fold 1,000 paper cranes, but she ended up at 300, and her friends folded the rest for her. So this really teaches you the importance of the paper crane to Japanese culture. Not only was it just a cool toy that you would mess around with, it also was symbolized for their beliefs and religions. But what about modern origami? Well, modern origami moves a bit away from Japanese beliefs, but it moves more towards the math and the science, and also the aesthetics. So I need to say modern origami is a bit crazy. It can get very crazy when you get to the hard stuff, but also it can be surprisingly simple when you are on the easy stuff. So origami has reached its extremes. Okay, so for example here, we have this paper crane, which is like super duper complex. This crane, it takes over an hour to fold. And also maybe even more to shape it into like a very elegant design, because you can see everything's super thin and long, especially the legs and the claws, with a very long beak and elegant wings and long neck. So this model really actually shows that it's a crane, not some random birds. But it does not really contain as much meaning as the traditional paper crane does. So next we have this Jedi Master. So Star Wars fans, you probably would be going crazy now, but just telling you, this model is not the most complex that you would see here. Despite looking super duper complex, especially with the color change, it is not a real complex model, despite it has this asymmetric. So it's an asymmetric model, which means that actually the lightsaber is connected to the model. It is not a separate piece. So that's pretty cool. But you're wondering, this model kind of looks a bit bad because it does not have any legs. So can origami humans have legs? Well, yes. But we're not looking straight into stick figures. We're looking more into something like this. So this is an origami samurai. It is one sheet of paper also, including the sword and the sword holder and the helmet and everything you can see here. So one of the key highlights that I think is pretty interesting here is that the cheekbones. Well, you guys will be thinking, wait, William, why are you focusing so much on the cheekbones? They're just two bones that are right here. What's so wrong about that? Okay, so I need to say, people like fingers in origami. So people really like fingers because it shows that you can design an origami human well. And yet, as you can see here, here are the fingers, even with a very protruding thumb. So that's also pretty cool. But the cheekbones are a key highlight. It really shapes the face and shows like looks like this guy is yelling a war cry. And the cheekbones really shows how much detail does this guy called Juho put into his models. Just look at how much detail there is. The model's only about this size, just the size of about my head. Not very big, but it's crazy how much details you can pack inside. And next we have origami insects. Origami insects have been a very big, a very big topic about origami. Not only is are insects super complex, especially when you're starting to get to the flying insects and also the ones with a lot of legs, it makes it super duper complex. And this origami model takes over 20 hours to make and shape and so on. You can find the tutorial on YouTube, but I do not suggest you trying it because it is very complex. It has all the features inside, like the wings with a color change, also with the tiny claws on the leg and the spikes. So overall, a very beautiful model. And if you're wondering what type of insect it is, it's a Japanese rhino beetle. So there's this stereotype about origami, that origami is just about humans and animals. But an even worse one is about just animals. But I've already shown you humans, so you can believe me that it's not just animals. But what about the humans and animals thing? No vehicles. Because car fans will be pretty upset about origami if they don't see an origami car showing up. Well, this guy eventually pleased the car fans by making an origami Lamborghini. This Lambo is probably one of the most 3D models I've ever seen. One sheet of paper, no cuts, no glue. So this really shows the streamlined shape of a Lamborghini, and also it makes it look like it's about to go off the page at any minute. Okay, next is a mythological model. So this is a divine dragon designed by Satoshi Kamiya. He is considered the world's genius of origami. He's designed so many models, even the Jedi Master over there, but it's only a modified version of another model called the Wizard. But anyways, this model contains so much detail, especially the claws and also the horns with the eyelids, and also this devilish mouth with a long segmented tail. So this model really does not really focus that much on like the horns, because some origami models focus so much on the horns that they add 8 horns on the head. But this makes more focus on its chest, showing its like abs on its chest, and also its massive muscles. So it really shows how powerful the dragon actually is. And next, I have my devilish dragon here. This origami model is made by myself, and it is made by craft tissue paper. Not exactly this tissue paper where you blow your nose with, but the other one. So craft tissue is just a re-strengthened tissue, and also I'm German lesson here. Craft means strength in German, so you can probably see it's very strong. And out of this whole origami model, which I was folding, there was only one little tear inside, and was because I folded one place too much. So, anyways, this craft tissue is very good for folding. Next, we have this origami elephant. This origami elephant is a very beautiful model, actually pretty simple. It has color change for the top, massive head. It's designed by Szinger, a very famous origamist, and it really incorporated the massive bulk of the elephant, especially when I added in the pleats, which made this model 3D, which was super cool. Next, we have a reindeer. This reindeer is designed by Kamiya. Kamiya is one of the most famous origami YouTubers in the world. Probably the most famous. He is very good at teaching you tutorials without talking. So that's pretty cool. And this reindeer is very beautiful. It really shows that it's a Santa reindeer, not some normal reindeer, because it holds its head high and proud. Its chest is puffed forward, so you can see that it's not just a normal reindeer. Next, I have a unfinished model, which is a spider. This spider is unfinished, as I said before. It has also limbs inside, 8, and also its fangs and its head and its abdomen. So this model is overall pretty simple, but I don't recommend you trying it. Even I say simple because I'm comparing it to, for example, the origami divine dragon. So I don't recommend the beginners trying it, because it might get you stuck and discourage you from doing origami. So I don't really want you to try it. But still, this is actually a very good test about your shaping skill. Like, how good can you shape this piece of paper into an origami spider? I did a poor job on it because I was a bit lazy, and also the paper was too thick. So next time, if you're wanting to shape it, then you should you should use larger paper. Okay, so I've shown you crazy origami designs, like dragons. I've shown you elephants. I've shown you spiders. I've shown you Lamborghinis. I've even shown you a samurai warrior. So how exactly did they design it? Well, good question. I'm also asking this myself. Well, this question is commonly asked by many people. Well, I'm going to show you how exactly did they do it. Well, there are solutions like using computers. For example, an app called Tree Maker. You can download it on Robert J. Lang's website. So it's actually pretty hard to use, but overall, it's a pretty good app to design your origami model with just placing circles. What are circles? I'll tell you later. So, but this origami model is just a variety of folds, and then they just fold it for you. This is basically also a version of Ori-Edita, but Ori-Edita uses a grid, but this uses something else. So but how exactly do they fold it? Well, I'm going to answer that to you later. So let me just give you a problem, because we'll use this problem to find the solution. This solution is how exactly do we design origami. So let's just say we had this Japanese slimy lobster. It has a lot of spikes, a lot of details if you want to cram it all into a piece of paper. Well, unfortunately, if I put a lobster into a cauldron and then tissue paper, it won't come out as an origami lobster. I'm not a wizard. I've never studied at Hogwarts, so don't ask me to recite all of Harry Potter. But how can we make it? This is a big question. Well, we can use circle packing. Well, the time has come. I just told you about circles. But what's so interesting about circles? And how exactly does it help our origami model? Let's just say we have this point that we want to make. Like, for example, a spider leg. And we have this piece of paper. Let's say this part is the point. The point always comes from the middle of the circle. We can use quarter circle. For example, when we go like this, and then this. So what we just did, if we folded this down, like when we're making a paper airplane, and then go like this, and then go like this again and again, until you have finally achieved that it's infinitely thin. And then go like this. And when you fold it out again, you'll get a perfect quarter circle. And you can also do that just by using a whole half circle, which we do. We fold it in half, the paper, and then we do repeat the same process. But what about a full circle? We fold it in half, then in half again. So we use this point, which, for example, let's just show you. It's the middle point here. We can fold this here, and then until we get this point here, and then we fold it down. Let's just say we folded it infinitely thin, so we get a whole circle. So that's basically what circle packing is. Well, it may sound boring to you, but it's kind of like this Squid Game thing, where you need to pack people of different sizes onto a board. And also you want to be most efficient possible. Efficiency is very important in origami. If you have an efficient model, good job. If you don't, well, you're going to just be wasting a lot of time trying to figure out how to do it when you have this very good way to do it, which you don't take. Well, let me show you some circle packing that was used in origami models. Well, let's just zoom in on the walking grasshopper right now. These origami models are designed by Brian Chen. He's super good at origami, but he doesn't have a YouTube channel. Sorry, guys. But anyways, he really showed how big the third leg is, because as you know, the third leg of a grasshopper is gigantic. It stretches all the way to their back, and it's used to jump. That's why it's called a grasshopper, not a grass walker. So this front leg is the meaty, it's thick. And it really showed it here by making this massive half circle inside. But the first leg and the second leg are teeny weeny tiny. Nothing like the third leg. But what about something a bit more complex than a walking grasshopper? What about a bit more complex than a flying one? What about a Japanese spiny lobster? Didn't you mention that before, William? Well, yes, I did. And here it is. Drum roll, please. 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh, this is a crazy life-sized origami Japanese lobster. William, are you telling me that this origami model is made from exactly one sheet of paper without any glue or cuts? Well, yes, it is. But I just need to clarify before. When I say no glue, it means that there's no glue involved in the collapsing process. So when they fold up the crease pattern. But later, they actually use glue as shaping techniques in order to glue some parts together, or else the paper will be too thick and let fly, and it'll look a bit bad. So just noting, when people say no glue, they mean no glue in the folding process, not the shaping process. So this origami model is overall crazy. It has tons of spikes, gigantic legs, very thin, and even color change, as you can see right here, with segmented segments for its tail and a very spiked shell. So this model's crease pattern is also can be used with only one word to describe: crazy. It is a very big grid. The grid is massive. It's probably like 60 by 60, maybe less, maybe more. But it overall just shows you how complex this model is, and also the remnants of circles inside. So as you can see here is a massive quarter circle. What is it? It's probably the antenna. And these are probably some type of like claws or something. These are probably like the legs. And then you can see the segments here about the tail. So overall, a very beautiful model. Well, I want to ask all of you guys, how exactly is origami helping the world? And can it? Well, many of you guys will say, well, no, a paper crane won't help the world. And that sort of legend of theirs is not real. Well, it is not real, I need to agree. But origami techniques can help the world. For example, this is an origami surgery robot. So people are asking me, wouldn't this surgery robot just get covered with blood and clog up? Well, I bet you aren't just like doing heart surgery and just cut a big hole in the heart and then like blood starts spurting out and it's like, oh, okay, let's start doing the surgery whilst blood is spilling everywhere. That's not exactly what we do with human surgery. So they basically should apply the same things for robot surgery. And also, robot surgery is a lot more precise than human surgery. So even less blood should come out. So right now, this here is an origami robot using a claw design. This is not a real robot, it's just a simulation. Very good simulation, but this robot uses the claw design and decreases the amount of parts by, guess what it is, 75%. Okay, so this is a crazy amount of parts decreasing, because normally the parts decreasing is only like 5% and 10%. That's like, oh, yay, cool. But 75% is like, OMG, that's so cool. And maybe even cooler, so that and also the manufacturer companies will be wiping their heads and going like, real, and the doctors will be like, yay, we don't need to do as much work. And plus the mechanics who also the repairs a robot are like, yay, I don't need to do as much and I can be less tired. So this overall is much better robots for not only the mechanics, the manufacturers, and also the doctors. Next, we have this kind of fortress thing. So imagine a day where your hero FBIs and SWAT teams will be coming to the crime scene and fighting crimes with origami crane. Well, not exactly that, but they'll be using a fortress set using an origami design. They fold it into these they fold it into 6 sections and then fold it into one thin one and then use hinges to make it like this archway thing. But it can fold up to something massive. This design can stop pistol bullets. A more recent design, which is still being designed, can right now stop rifle bullets. So it's crazy how much origami has advanced from just paper, which I can rip by myself, to stopping full force bullets. Next is a nano injector. Nano injectors are these teeny tiny needles which inject DNA into a cell. So this nano injector uses a design which is basically like 2 sticks with hinges on both sides, and then in the middle of the sticks they have hinges also. So they create like this trapezoid, which starts from 2 sticks, then they start creating this parallelogram, then a square, and then a parallelogram again, and then folding up to this straight thing again with 2 hinges on top and 2 hinges in the middle. But the 2 hinges that are in the middle right now used to be at the side. So it's a pretty interesting type of design, and it's also used in robots. So overall, it's very good at pushing the nano injector forward and pulling it back. Okay, so this is a super duper satisfying picture of a spaceship with a sunflower thing. Well, these astronauts on the spaceship are not going to be feeding off sunflower seeds for the whole time they're in space, but they're going to use a sunflower as their propulsion system. This sunflower is made of super thin material, and it can reflect sunlight super easily, and that makes it a solar sail. Well, you can search up what solar sails are, but all I need to tell you is that they, like normal sails on the sea, they need to be big. But you can't just make some rocket that's this thick. That's going to be way too much drag and a waste of fuel. So how exactly do you fold it up or stuff it in? Well, you can't just go like this to the solar sail and then stuff it in the rocket. It's not the best plan and can even damage the solar sail. Well, there are solutions to everything. For example, using a flasher. Flashers are one of the most satisfying things in origami. And they can fold up from something gigantic all the way down to a teeny weeny thing. And it's very satisfying also. So flashers, they go into this whirlpool-like design and can fold up to this small hexagon shape or an octagon or maybe a square. So there are many different types of flashers. And when you use super thin materials, you can fold something that's about 100 meters long of width straight down to something about 1 or 2 meters. But that can be even more extreme when you get to something as big as 200 meters or maybe 300. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to say that origami is a great art, and I suggest all of you guys trying it. It not only teaches you the patience of folding paper, but also the mathematics and science behind it. And also, one day, origami models may be changing the world. Something that was used to be about aesthetics, just paper cranes, cootie catchers. Now, which after 100 years of developing and evolving, can one day save a human's life. Thank you.